So they died waiting, if that claim is to be accepted. But no such reference is found in the Bible that literally speaking, all the prophets earlier were waiting for their life towards Jesus Christ. None. They are declared categorically righteous and live by Allah, by God of Bible. Abraham, look at him. Nor will you find even the remotest mention that Abraham was not live but waiting for life to come at the hands of Jesus Christ. He is declared the father of prophets, progenies of prophets, righteous person. So are other prophets declared in the Bible to be righteous. Living with God. These are the words used, living with their Lord. How is Jacob praised, and how is Isaac praised, and how is Joseph praised, and so on and so forth. So, don't take that too literally either. People who have been, yes, people who have been awaiting, if they were awaiting in so many words, still, unless they had access to Jesus Christ, they should have died because He was the only source of life and the only way. The way was not opened before Him. It was shut. And if they could still have access to life through a shut door, which had not even appeared, so why not continue with this? Why to create a door at all? And after Jesus Christ came, and after people believed in Him, what difference did it make? Literally speaking, substantially speaking, has man become less criminal? Are those who believe in Jesus Christ less criminal than those who do not believe in Him? Is there the slightest difference in reality, in belief and non-belief in Jesus Christ, if you take it in the meaning, if you take Jesus Christ to be the Savior in the sense that the Christians take? Otherwise, I can establish a difference in pre-Jesus era and after Jesus era. But I'm attacking the Christian belief, not my own belief in Jesus. I know He was a prophet of God. I know He brought about a great change, a revolution in human affairs when He came. But in the spiritual sense, not in the terms that He came, He took all the sins to himself, and the rest of the mankind was washed out of sins. Washed clean.
He did.
If He did that, why are so many sinful Christians living in the world?
Because they don't want to know. They're not interested.
So what difference did He make?
Quite a lot.
What I mean to say is, billions and billions upon Christians believe in Him and yet have not got rid of that sin which they inherit.
There's a difference in believing in Him and believing on Him.
All right. Believe on Him,
That's the difference.
and yet, I'll go back later. I know what you have in mind. I'm coming to it. And I leave, unfortunately for you, or fortunately I should say, no room for escape in this regard. I assure you. You know, the signs of obliteration of sin are not to be decided by you or me. They are to be decided by the Bible itself, in which you and I both believe. The Bible tells us that as a punishment of sin, God ordained that woman should bear children with painful labor, and man should earn his living with labor and effort. These are the two punishments of sin. Are they not? According to the Bible, according to the very first chapter of the Old Testament, this is the punishment of sin meted out by God to Adam and his progeny. That from then on, And also a punishment was meted out to the snake, who was responsible for all this original sin and all that, misleading Adam and Eve. The punishment was that from now on you will crawl on your belly. As if snakes before that snake never used to crawl on their bellies.
We assume it had legs.
Pardon?
We assume it was an animal with legs.
Not 700,000 years, 6,000 years ago.
Well, that's what,
These snakes,
that's what I'm led to believe.
the snakes have been crawling on their belly for millions of years. But forget about it. I'm coming to a different thing. These are the three signs of obliteration of sin. Show me a single man who believed on Jesus Christ within his heart, truly, and got rid of these two punishments. From then on,
I understand.
now you see,
I know what you want to see. You want to see fire from heaven.
I want to understand
What would you like
things
to see for?
in the perspective of biblical statements. Otherwise, this debate will enter into something which will not be able to manage. I will translate sin in one way, you will translate it in another. I'll say the sign of obliteration of sin should be this. You will say, no, it should be that. Why to waste our time in useless debate? Why not go to the original texts and find out how to establish that the sin has been obliterated?
Well, I heard the gospel that Jesus died for me, personally.
That is different. Every prophet dies for his people. You know?
And I was asked the question,
Even you can die for others if you suffer for them and you want to try to improve their lot. This is what it means. In spiritual terminology, in religious terminology, if a man suffers for humanity, he wants to improve their lot, he dies for them. And prophets die the more for the rest of the people than other reformers on earth. Even non-prophets, even some non-religious people are known to have died for others. In the sense that although they are not personally suffering, they are not involved directly, but they have such a fine nature. They go on suffering for the sake of others. And they want to put themselves into trouble for the sake of other people to improve their lot, to ease their life. This is the meaning of dying for others. So did Jesus, we believe. He was put to cross. What suffering? Immense suffering, no doubt. But Allah saved him from that. According to us and according to the statement of the Bible, but that's a long story that you might have been already discussing with your friend who brought you. But we can go into that later.
he was the promised Messiah.
Huh?
He was the promised Messiah.
He was the promised Messiah, but also another promised Messiah was to come, according to him.
But they didn't believe it.
And so the people today don't believe in the second promised Messiah.
It was only when he died
I tell you,
that I believed it.
No, you believe it because you are born Christian. That's all. Oh yes, please. You see, if you had been born an Ahmadi, if you had been born an Ahmadi, you would have also believed in Jesus, but the way I believe in him.
I was trained as a Roman Catholic before I was converted to Christianity.
No, Roman
Roman
Catholicism,
Catholics only promised me purgatory.
I tell
But
you.
Jesus promised me
So
paradise.
I have better hope in you. That shows you are a righteous person. You are a right-minded person.
I'm not righteous.
In the sense,
I am through him,
just a minute.
not through me.
You are righteous in your approach, in your attitude. When you begin to see light, you say it is light. When you begin to see darkness, you say it is darkness. Otherwise, having born in Roman Catholicism, you should never have deserted it.
That's right.
See?
I would never
So
say
I am
that.
quite certain, having done that once, you can do it twice. All right. I think let's call it a day now. Assalamu alaikum.